Okay, it's do or die time. Man, this is heavy. I probably should have somebody here to help me, but I don't. Well, I have Mommy in the other room, but I don't know what all she could do. She could put the hinge pin in for me. But hey, we'll see what I can do here. What kind of trouble I can get in. You know, I might want to put my glove on, just because that was digging into me before, and my hand's a little sore. I think I'm going to stick my glove on for that. I just happen to have some new gloves. I'll keep the camera rolling. I might have wanted to wear these, but I was afraid I might slip or something, so I usually try to carry doors without any gloves on. I think this will be all right. I think. And see, I got my hinge pin right here in my nail bag and stuff, because I've got to just be concerned about that, not the top hinge, you know. So get it positioned in the place here. See if I can do this. Boy, it's kind of awkward doing this middle one instead of the top one first, but hey, it's got to be done, right? Right. Yeah, I can see how my hand's going to be slightly in the way because I've got to angle this. Boy, this is going to be kind of tricky, I think. Let's see what I can do. Let's see what I can do. Here, put my hand down there. Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to get Mommy out here so she can put the pin in for me, because I don't want to let go and have it slide and ding the door up and all that. I think it's gonna be best to do it that way. Not take any chances since she's here. Right? Be safe rather than sorry. Wow, that took some doing, even with Mommy here. I'm glad she was here, because it was easier for me to get it off, but to get it back on, because I'm messing with this one here, because it's so high up off the floor because of the threshold and all that. It was good that she was here, so that we put that in, and then I had to tilt the door up, and see how I tilted it up. That's just my nail puller, and I didn't want to have that end into the floor. You know, if I didn't have my mat, my knee pad here, I could have put my putty knife down first underneath that, and I've done that before on floors to not scratch them, and then I could push this in or out, whatever, to line up. And I finally got the bottom one lined up, so I did that one first, and then we jostled it around a little bit, pushed it in just a hair further to kind of cock this over to get it up there nice and snug before I tighten that one up. Man, that was pretty tricky. Okay, so now I haven't pulled this out yet. It should hang fine. It should hang fine now. You know, I didn't do anything to the door, and it should be no different than it was before. And you know, I do have the chance of checking the door to see if I need to adjust it at all or anything like that. Okay, and before there used to be a really big gap at the bottom between the bottom of the door edge and the jamb, and now that looks pretty good actually. It was further away, and before I had taken the old hinge off a little bit, and then I put some screws in the back side. I put a couple drywall screws I drilled them in. There's one in there and one there that's kind of cocked this out at a very, very slight angle. And I use that for my shim to push it over just a hair. And that worked out really good. You see, usually you don't have to do that. Usually doors sag, okay? And so I'm gonna have to decide on this whether or not I wanna move this over just a hair, and I think I might before I put the doorknobs in and all that. See how big this gap is? Well, I can make that gap smaller by loosening, taking this up, and again I'm gonna have to put my bottom piece back in there, put that in there, put my nail puller in there at an angle like I did before, make that snug. Then I can take this hinge, undo these screws, pull it out, put a drywall screw right there and right there, screw it into the wood, you know, pre-drill it, screw it in, let it stick out, maybe about a 1/16 is all, and then flop this back, screw it in, and that will take this hinge and tilt it out just a little bit, and it will lessen the gap over here. And isn't that funny? Most doors, most solid core doors are going to sag. They're going to be sagging. And see, this one I know is not sagging, but I want to make it lower because, see, there's not much room up at the top. See over here you got more, you got about an 1/8 or 3/16. Here you got a 1/16 or so. And you got this big gap here. Well, I didn't install this door from years ago. Somebody else did. And I know I can make it a little bit better. And so I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on that and flop that over. And, you know, I'll do that and screw it back in, close the door, see what it's like. And then if I need to go over further, I'll unscrew the drywall screws just a hair. I'll use 1¼ drywall screws, you know, in a different hole, like right in here somewhere, see? And if I need it closer, I'll just unscrew it, just one little 1/4 turn, and then try it again. If I end up getting it too close, then I flop this back out and take those 2 drywall screws, screw them in just a hair, and put this back. Do you see what I'm saying? And you can use those as shims. I used to do it. I never used to do it that way. I used to take some metal and fold it all over itself, and then undo, you know, loosen up a hinge and tilt it out. Get the putty knife in there. Push the putty knife in there. A little screwdriver or something. Then get the little piece of metal in there. Push it in there. Tighten it back. What a pain in the rear when all I had to do was use screws, like I was explaining to you. Okay, and you know, I'm not gonna put the doorknobs on today. I'm gonna let this dry and cure an extra day. So because of that, I'm not even gonna put the weather stripping back in this little notch. And here's the other thing: that notch, you don't want to just slop your paint up in there when you're painting and get any in this groove, because then it could be more difficult to put it in. If you do, before you put it in, you'll have to take a putty knife or a screwdriver. Make sure this is all clean, because you want that, you want this groove. See this groove piece right here. You want that to push in there. See, this little bit gets pushed in this notch. All right. I could do that today if I wanted. It's not going to really hurt anything, but I'm probably going to save that till later too, because then I won't be able to keep the door closed like tonight in the garage. I'll just leave the door closed like that, you know. And if I want to keep it closed all the way, I can put a couple screwdrivers underneath there or something like that, whatever. But if I put the weather stripping on, it's going to sit there like this. Either way. All right, so now that I got the hinges in there, I can do my thing. I can adjust I can adjust this. And then if I really think the bottom is too close, you see there, that's pretty good. I wouldn't want it any closer than that. And because when you repaint, you put a little bit more thickness on your edge of your door, on the edge of your door jamb. I mean, we're talking millimeters, you know. But the last thing I want is to see this door ever start dragging on the door jamb or anything like that. Now see, if this door was sagging before, I would have fixed the sag and done all that prior to installing, before taking the door off and painting it and all that kind of stuff. And the funny thing is this door, I believe this door was sagging. Do you remember? I think it was sagging, because I remember when I had this out, there's 2 screws I pre-drilled in there and put those in there and all that. I could loosen those up a little bit. Remember this screw, I tightened that up. I tightened this up just a hair. That could have made this jamb here push in that way just a hair, because I remember it wasn't that big of a gap when we moved in here. When I was fixing all the other doors and stuff, I remember doing all the stuff that I'm going to do now. I did the very opposite to suck this door over. Okay, isn't that funny? Now I got to loosen things up, but I'll tweak it. I'll do whatever I got to do over there and make it look better. Okay, just remember what it looks like here. My next clip, I'll show you what this gap looks like when I'm done. Stick around.